Chapter 17, Patriarch. Inyana claws in alternating motions between her throat and eyes, coughing loudly. A thick cloud of red powder shrouds the Sakari's head, forcing her to continue breathing in the irritants. Whoever you are, you will regret interfering, Inyana growls, still unable to see clearly. Gerald crouches at Jake's side, taking a quick inventory of the boy's wounds. What are you doing, kid? It's clear from his grandfather's voice that he's disapproving of Jake facing such a powerful opponent. Still blinking with disbelief, Jake cannot believe who it is who has saved him from death. Grandpa? How are you here? After I heard you were arrested, I headed here to see what I could do. That was when I saw you trying to fight the Yazata. Gerald begins to apply healing ointments and powders to Jake's wounds. Here, he says, handing Jake a dirty-looking plant root. The root is light-colored and resembles ginseng. Suck on this and swallow the juice, but spit out the root itself. Jake puts the root into his mouth and grimaces as the taste is awful. The teen has to fight not to spit the thing out immediately. Don't be such a baby, Gerald says. It's a Guardian Cura root. This tastes like Rosie O'Donnell's bathwater, Jake groans, sticking out his tongue in disgust. Quit your bitching and swallow the juice. The chemicals in the root will restore your stamina and accelerate the healing. Despite tasting worse than anything his mouth and taste buds have ever encountered, Jake immediately feels the restorative effects going into work. Combined with the healing ointments and powders, the guangrang root leaves Jake not only refreshed, but feeling better than ever. Leaping to his feet, he's suddenly ready for another go with Inyana. So that's Yamura's sister up there? Gerald asks, looking up at Inyana, who continues to flail and claw at her eyes. Uncomfortably, Jake notices that his grandfather has yet to mention the elephant in the room. She chose that host to dig at me, Jake whispers with shame. It's hard to fight her when she looks like that. Gerald nods slowly. Anne deserved better than this. Jake can hear the hatred in his grandfather's voice. Can you exorcise her? Jake asks, looking at his grandfather with sadness. Please tell me you've come up with something. I want you to leave, Gerald says, looking through his bag of powders. He seems to debate long on which mixtures to select. No way, Jake shouts defiantly. If we have to fight, we're better off doing this together. She'll use your presence here to try and distract me. You must go and not look back. I'm not leaving. This is my fight, not yours. Inyana came here to kill me. At this point, she doesn't even know who you are. She's my daughter, Gerald shouts. She's my responsibility. Grandpa, Jake whispers. It's not easy for me either, but we have to think about what Mom would want. She'd never want to see us get hurt because of her. If you fight her and die, what will that do? Do you think she'll be happy with that outcome? She would feel the same as if she would if she were to kill you. Jake gives no ground, remaining firm. Inyana begins to overcome the effects of Gerald's powder. There isn't any more time for debate. Now go! Jake balls his fist and readies himself for battle. I already told you I'm not leaving. You're just going to have to deal with it. You stubborn little shit, Gerald grumbles, once again digging through his bag. Since when is this news to you? Jake replies with a smile. Take care of your grandmother, Gerald pats his grandson on the shoulder. As Jake turns his head towards his grandfather in confusion, the elder man blows a handful of powder into the teen's face. Jake coughs, stumbling backward. His eyes turn red and tear up. What did you just do to me? Go enjoy your youth. Dying's for the old. Yamura is forced into control in a flash of light. Jake's protests are silenced immediately. Make sure you get as far from here as possible, Gerald says. And what makes you think that I will not just use this opportunity to kill you? Yamura asks, staring up at his sister as she recovers. My grandson needs you. Keep him safe. Nimura nods. You know that you'll die. Get out of here, Gerald replies. You have to make sure that Jake lives. Nimura darts away, his image trailing behind him as the light attempts to catch up with his movement. Gerald looks up, focusing his attention on Inyana. The Sakari Queen hisses with fury, her face reddened and still irritated. Inyana's gaze quickly locks on the sole being now standing against her. The memories of Anne Stewart cause Inyana to smile. Father, she purrs, landing ahead of him. You are one of the last people that I expected to see here. Do not attempt your trickery with me. You're not my daughter. Gerald reaches into his bag, tightly gripping one of his selected powder mixtures. Inyana looks down at her own body with mock confusion. What are you talking about? Of course I am. The memories that Inyana possesses of Anne's parents has no information leading her to suspect that they have any knowledge of the Sakari. What lies has that troublesome boy told you? Drop the act. I know exactly who you are. Gerald hurls the powder mixture in Inyana's face, forcing her Sakari traits to surface. Inyana's eyes change to a deep red and elongated fangs lengthen from her mouth. The nails on her hands become sharpened claws, and her hair lightens to a pale blue. Gerald breathes easier. He'll find it much less difficult dealing with Inyana now that she doesn't look as much like his daughter. Inyana grins, running her tongue across her fangs. You have my attention now. What is it that you intend to do, old man? Gerald withdraws another small bag of premixed powders. Kill you if I must. Kill me? Inyana laughs. You would kill your own precious offspring as well. I'm aware of this. The greater threat of your presence in this world supersedes my personal attachments. I'll do whatever must be done. You speak so boldly, yet I do not believe you will be capable of accomplishing this feat. Gerald attempts to throw the powder, but Inyana's superior speed and reflexes allow her to prevent the man's action. Gripping Gerald's wrists tightly, Inyana smiles. Is that all you have? Kitchen magic is not advanced enough to combat me. Digging his index finger into the bag, Gerald is able to spill the powdered contents out onto the ground. The powder swirls around Inyana's feet, hardening into stone. Suffering the effects of petrification, Inyana leaps backwards, leaving the stone imprints of her feet and ankles. Neither fighter says a word, studying each other very carefully. Inyana throws a hand out towards Gerald, visualizing the element of fire and drawing it forth. Agi Nestra! The fireball ignites the air around Gerald, but does not touch his flesh. Inyana curses with frustration. She attempts her attack again and again, but each time the man is protected by an invisible wall of energy. You warded yourself against magic before arriving here to face me, Inyana observes with anger. Very clever. I see that the boy was loose with his tongue about my abilities. Iris, Alabama, 1972. Moving city to city, Gerald, Lydia, and their two children, Anne and Allie, are never able to stay in any place too long. Because of Lydia's status as a vessel, her offspring are coveted by the devils that are aware of their existence. Gerald himself has made an enemy of the devils, having worked with the House of the Shun to eliminate many well-known devils in place within the clergy. Leaving the House of the Shun, Gerald has still been unable to completely shake the devils. With their long lives, devils hold grudges and will never forgive a human that slighted them. Gerald tries to fit in and lead a normal life wherever he brings his family, but the devils always eventually find them. Currently, Gerald works at a hardware store and keeps a low profile. Because of his hard work ethic, the owner of the store leaves most of its operation to Gerald and rarely checks in. The Williams family never partake in any activities within the towns they move to, and try to never be significant enough in anyone's memory to be traced, should people be interrogated by a devil. A man walks into the hardware store, triggering a bell above the door to sound. Beneath the entryway, A spell circle is activated that immediately alerts Gerald that a devil is present. "So, this is how you keep evading us?" the man asks. Realizing he has activated the spell, he crouches to move aside the small rug. "Primitive little trap magic." "It doesn't need to be complicated if it works," Gerald says, frantically fumbling around beneath the sales counter. "Alerting you a few seconds before I kill you doesn't seem like much of an advantage." "You'd be surprised," Gerald says, withdrawing a small brown bag. "Am I supposed to be scared?" "I don't know. Ask your compatriots in hell how effective my methods are." The man growls in anger. "You are going to suffer crossing us, human." "I've heard that many times before. I wonder sometimes if you devils are reading from a script." The man attempts to teleport, but finds his ability to Shunkan Ito has been blocked. "Mere annoyances," he growls. "If your kind would stop chasing me and my family, this conflict could end. I left that life behind. I no longer actively work to cure people of your afflictions." "Do you think that you can just quit and all will be forgotten? As you said yourself, you have sent many of our brothers back to Gehenna. You can never be forgiven. We will torture your family and kill you. Then we will take the bodies of your wife and daughters as vessels. They will live out the rest of their lives as our playthings. All because you tried to be a hero and save the day." "I tried to do what was right. The work you devils are doing is evil. Humans do not exist to be your vessels or your sick entertainment." "I beg to differ. There are very few other uses for your species that I can think of. Providing transportation for our spirits is the greatest purpose that your lives can strive for." "As always, the conversations I have with you devils is so enlightening. I'm afraid, however, that I must put our talk to an end. My family and I will have to pack up and leave this city, now that we've been found again." "You aren't leaving this store," the man says. "I already told you that I'll be killing you." "Do I get the courtesy of knowing the name of my would-be killer?" The man laughs. "Andrelphus. Not that it matters." "Oh, it matters quite a lot. You devils continue to fail to realize how much power is in a name. Creator of all, I ask thee to remove this seed of evil from our world." Andrelphus laughs. "It didn't work. I don't think he's listening." Gerald sets a metal cage containing a small white mouse onto the counter. "I wasn't finished." "Abite diablos, relinque hoc corpore, nenos excrucies amplios, virtuos Christi tu erget." Gerald shouts. Andrelphus is consumed in a white light, unable to move. "Damn you!" the devil screams as his spirit is ripped from his human body and drawn into the mouse. Gerald hurries with the cage in tow out to his car. Unlike usual, Andrelphus did not come alone. 2 more devils wait outside. "Seems like we guessed correctly," the devil Lothus says. "I told Andrelphus you were smarter than we thought. Serves that idiot right for not listening to me." "Where are you going in such a hurry?" the devil Darfir asks. "You wouldn't be trying to skip town again, would you?" Gerald reaches into the small bag from earlier and throws a cloud of dust into Darfir's face. The devil begins to cough and claw at his eyes in pain. "What is this? It burns!" Darfir screams. "You stupid monkey!" Lothus growls, grabbing Gerald by the neck. The devil squeezes, causing the man to drop everything he's holding. "You're finished. No more making fools of us. You die this time." Gerald struggles to breathe, reaching up to touch the devil's face. Unknown to Lothus, Gerald uses a cream on his finger to paint several smug glyphs on the devil's face. Lothus shouts in pain and surprise as his flesh begins to smoke and burn. He releases Gerald and reels back in agony. "You damn trickster!" Darfir growls, his eyes now red and inflamed. I'm not just going to kill you. I'm going to make you suffer worse than any human's ever been made to suffer. Joe quickly opens the rear door of his car and withdraws another bag of powders. Throwing this one at the devils causes a massive explosion. The blast knocks Gerald back against his car, indenting the side. The man groans, crawling to his feet and forcing himself into the driver's seat. The devils materialize just outside of the blast's radius. Lothus is still partially on fire and curses as he pats at the flames to extinguish himself. That damned ape! Lothus screams in fury. He's going to pay for that! Gerald drives home as fast as he can and immediately runs inside to gather his family. Before he can get Lydia and his children into the car, the devils appear in his driveway. Did you really think that you could get away from us? Darfir asks. We've already found you. We know where you live. Nowhere is safe from us. Lydia throws her hands out, uttering a quick chant that puts a magical barrier between her family and the devils. Lothus teleports behind Lydia, bypassing her spell. You're as dumb as your mate, Lothus laughs. Did you forget about Shunkanito? No, I counted on it, Gerald says, pressing a handgun to the devil's temple and squeezing the trigger. Unable to dodge, the human vessel is killed, and Lothus is left stranded as a wayward spirit. Without a vessel, he will eventually fade away from the mortal world and return to Gehenna. Damn you! Darfir shouts, shocked by the death of his ally. Distracted, he does not see Lydia changing her hand movements to prepare another casting. Mahesh Warastra! Lydia shouts. A glowing third eye composed of energy materializes on her forehead. As the eye opens, a concentrated beam of energy is fired that instantly reduces the devil to ash. Lydia collapses, completely spent. Powerful offensive magic, Maheshwastra, can only be used once before it drains a user's stamina. Gerald helps his wife into the car and put their children in the back seat before leaving Iris, Alabama, behind forever. 8 months of their life is gone now that the devils have again found them, but they've managed to survive. Gerald and Lydia continue to expand their knowledge of magic and the arcane to better defend themselves and their family from the never-ending attacks. September 9th, 1998, Totokahatchee, Florida. My entire adult life has been a hardship of constantly being on the defense against monsters like you, Gerald says. You may not be a devil, but everything I've learned over the years to combat them can and will be applied against you. Wow, so uncaring, Inyana mocks. You really don't care what happens to this body, do you? I would rather my daughter die than be used by the likes of you. What a terrible father, Inyana feigns insult. Poor Anne is just devastated by your cold words. I doubt it, Gerald growls. Like a devil, all that comes from your mouth are lies. Daddy, please. Please don't hurt me. You have to save me. I don't want to die, Inyana shouts, mocking Anne's voice. I've heard every single attempt at trickery and manipulation possible from the devils. You can't try anything against me that I haven't encountered before. My vessel's memories of you are wrapped up in a strange fog. I can only piece together false images that seem implanted. Her mind is a fractured patchwork. Tell me, did you perform some kind of magic on your own daughter? All of her memories of the devils and magic have been wiped. No child should have to endure what we had to put our family through to stay alive. Interesting, Inyana says. If I'm able to unlock what you have hidden away within her, perhaps my own power will grow stronger. I would not advise trying to undo our efforts. It will not benefit you like you think. Inyana begins to laugh. Like you would give me advice that would help me. I did not take you to be such an obvious fool. Call me whatever you want. I warned you. Inyana begins to pick at Anne's mind, tearing down the magically constructed wall that has concealed some of her memories. Anne slowly regains memories of her childhood, and place a fog between all of her happy memories. The holes are filled in with run-ins with devils and frequent flights from town to town. Inyana freezes, suddenly feeling her entire body fighting back against her control. "What is this?" "I warned you," Gerald says. "Now that my daughter remembers about devils and possession, she has a stronger will to resist your control. We taught our children to fight against possession as hard as they can, in the event that their mother and I were killed." "She may be able to fight me," Inyana strains to move her arms, "but she cannot defy me completely. I am still in control." Gerald strikes Inyana with a punch to the gut and rises with another face full of magical powder. Inyana staggers, doubling over and vomiting a sparkling, glitter-like fluid onto the ground. The Sicari is unable to do anything to stop herself from purging large amounts of her magical energy from her body. "Nothing you do will ever be enough to defeat me," Inyana screams, tears in her eyes. "None of your feeble efforts matter. I am too powerful for your actions to affect me at all. I am Inyana, Queen of Averno, and rightful ruler of this world as well. You humans struggle to defy me, but in the end, you will all fall to your knees or die." "The people of Earth will never bow to you," Gerald says. "Then they will all die." Inyana overpowers Anne's spirit and knocks Gerald back with the exertion of her full power. The ground splits, and violent tremors shake throughout the entire area. Buildings collapse, and the vegetation and wooden components of the edifices burst into flames. Gerald erects a barrier to protect himself, but it gives out quickly and barely lasts long enough to shield him from Inyana's aura. Inyana darts to Gerald's side, hoping to catch a gap in his protection. She unleashes another Aginastra blast, but explodes before making contact with its target, as Gerald immediately raises his anti-magic warding. Frustrated, Inyana flashes around Gerald, releasing multiple fiery blasts. Unlike a normal barrier spell, the warding against magical attacks holds up much stronger. "Damn you! Garuda Nostra!" Inyana screams, throwing her hands out and trying to hit Gerald with wind magic. The wind reflects off the warding, vibrating into nearby buildings and shaking them to the ground. Inyana rushes to Gerald's side again, this time thrusting her fist out towards his ribs. The man sidesteps clumsily, barely registering her movement in time. "If I cannot attack you with magic, I shall physically strangle the life from your body," Inyana says with a grin. Gerald glances down, seeing 4 red lines dripping blood painted from his left side up to his chest. Before Inyana can gloat, her right arm and leg become metal and weigh her down significantly. Inyana drops to the ground, struggling to move. Inyana hisses, placing her free hand on her metallic portions and trying to use her heightened awareness of magic to visualize the component parts of the spell in order to break the metal until she is able to stand. Inyana brushes the remaining debris off her arm and leg. She is about to speak, but Gerald is on her quickly and blows a cloud of black powder into her face. Inyana backhands Gerald, giving herself some space before the spell activates. The man bounces off the ground and takes painfully long to crawl to his feet. "Petrification, metallysis, irritants." Inyana runs through her opponent's so far revealed spells. "None of these are powerful by themselves. This human is more of a nuisance than an actual threat. His defense is weak against physical attacks. I must use his weaknesses to my advantage." Inyana drops to her knees, stricken with pain. She clutches her chest as it feels like it's on fire. Flowers begin to bloom, growing from the Sicari's chest. She screams, tearing out the flowers by their bloody roots. More flowers sprout to replace each that is removed. "What have you done to me?" Inyana growls, pulling a handful of flowers from her chest. The bloody roots of the plant steadily drop her fluids to the ground. "Reishi blooms," Gerald says, wiping blood from his upper lip, the back of his hand. "As long as you have energy, the flowers will continue to grow. They feed off your strength, slowly depleting it." Inyana screams loudly, radiating a fire-like aura from her body. The flames burn each flower all the way down to the roots. She drops to a knee, panting with exhaustion. "Your simplistic magic is far more formidable than I gave you credit for." Inyana says, trying to regain her composure. I think that I have weakened her enough that I can force her out of Anne's body, Gerald thinks, grabbing one of his few remaining powder bags. Inyana points her index finger at Gerald. I believe that I have seen enough of your tricks. Faster than the man's reaction speed, Inyana releases a burst of energy directly into his bag of powders. The powders light up quickly, forcing Gerald to strip off the burning satchel. You are now crippled, Inyana says. Without your bag of annoyances, you stand no chance of survival. Gerald glances around, looking for a chance to escape and regroup. Without his powders, Inyana is right that he stands no chance. The Sakari Queen smiles, surrounding their battlefield with a wall of flames. Cutting off any escape, Gerald knows that the end has come. Inyana rushes him, striking the man repeatedly with a combo of merciless jabs. He tries to counter, but the Sakari dodges and follows up with another punch. Gerald buckles, bending slightly, and gives Inyana the opening for a powerful uppercut that knocks him to his back. In physical combat, you are pathetic, Inyana laughs. Old man. And I'm sorry that I couldn't save you, Gerald whispers, blood drooling from his busted lips. Inyana lunges, grabbing Gerald by his throat. You cannot even save yourself. Why would you ever think that you could save her? The sky darkens, and a terrible roar echoes throughout the area. Inyana looks up with surprise, just in time to see the opening jaws of a massive black dragon of black fire. Basia, Voven! Ymira screams, pouring his energy out in an attempt to consume his sister while her guard is down. Inyana tosses Gerald to the side, just as the jaws of the dragon close on her. She's able to hold the beast at bay, one hand on each portion of its mouth. Her heels slide back as the power of the dragon pushes against her. Ymira drops to the ground beside Gerald and helps him to his feet. Why did you come back? Gerald asks. He cannot understand why a Sakari has returned to save him. You weakened her greatly, Ymira explains. When I felt her aura drop drastically, I realized this would be my best opportunity at defeating her. Gerald smirks, coughing afterwards. Coincidence favors me, I suppose. Inyana pries the dragon's jaws apart with her hands until she's able to rip the beast in half with her superior strength. The concussion knocks the Sakari to her back with powerful winds. Ymira seizes the opening, darting to meet his sister while she is still stunned. As the former general leaps, he conjures a fiery spear and drops down to impale Inyana. Shaking off her disorientation, Inyana throws her hands up just as Ymira reaches her. Garuda Nostra! Magical winds slam into Ymira, extinguishing the flames of his spear and blasting him backward. Throwing his weight into a backflip, Ymira lands and immediately readies his spear in defense. Did your pride get wounded by letting an old human fight me on your behalf? Inyana mocks. Ymira does not take her bait. He knows that she's only trying to get underneath his skin. I merely saw an opening and took advantage of such. I did not expect an old human, as you say, to have worn you out so. Had he more spells and stamina, I do believe he could have bested you. Your opinions on matters of magic are not worth my acknowledgement, Inyana replies. You are a novice in magic. I have forgotten more spells in my years of imprisonment than you will ever learn. What do you know? 2, maybe 3 spells? I am capable of dozens of spells, each strong enough to level this city and leave you and every human in it nothing but ash. Then I suppose I shall defeat you with the physical combat that you only so recently touted. Ymira lunges with his spear, trying for a head-level stab. Inyana slaps the spear down as she backsteps. She puts her foot on the spear tip and delivers a swift kick to the face. Ymira pivots, whipping the spear free and putting his sister off balance. Trying to follow through, Ymira drops his spear and redirects his energy into his claws. Swinging with a backhand, he attempts to slash Inyana's throat. She blocks him at the elbow with both hands and forces his arm down before delivering a sidekick to the chest. Damn it! Ymir holds his chest in pain, blood running down his lips. Even weakened, she's still so powerful. Are you regretting that you did not run while you still had the opportunity, brother? Ymir takes a deep breath and calms himself. Oh, this fight has only just begun, sister.